Can a creator of the universe be proved beyond all doubt? Perhaps not. But can such a transcendent creator be proved beyond a reasonable doubt? I think I can do that in this video. So hang with me. For this video, I'm going to focus on one particular line of evidence, even though there are many more. That line of evidence is the remarkable fine-tuning of the constants of the universe. Consider this question. What's the best explanation for what we see, for the universe and the world around us, for life, and for our own consciousness and self-aware souls, if you will? This approach goes to a type of logic called abductive reasoning. Darwin himself advocated it. He suggested that the way to come to an understanding of origins is to make an inference to the best available explanation. That's exactly what we're going to do now. Here then are the two options for origins. Is the source of the universe best explained by undirected natural and material processes, which would be mere chance and necessity? Or is the source of the universe best explained by a transcendent, intelligent creator, an entity who is personal, making willful choices in his design? All right, then we have to deal with something profound that we're seeing. What about the remarkable, exquisite fine-tuning of the values, constants, and ratios that specify all the components of the universe, especially life? Physicists over the last 50 years have been increasingly learning of dozens of these critical numbers and are universally astonished by them and how precise and truly unforgiving they are. You need to understand that these values are not simply numbers that derive from mathematics, but values that seem to be set by intent from a wide range of possible values. Much like someone turning a dial until the number is within the specific range needed for the components of the universe to work. Think about anything you like, a galaxy, a star, or a human. They're all made of identical protons, neutrons, and electrons, the fundamental particles that make atoms. So why do all electrons have the particular mass they do, 10 to the minus 31 power kilograms? Why do they have the exact negative charge they do? And why is every proton 1,836 times heavier than an electron, yet with exactly the same charge, only positive? And why are neutrons exactly 1,838 times heavier, which is just a teensy bit more than a proton? It turns out that all these values are precisely set to make atoms possible. If electrons, light as they may be, were just a bit heavier, they'd be attracted to the nearest proton, combining to form a neutron, which would make all the material in the universe become neutrons instead of atoms. Nothing would be what it is without atoms, so these values are ultra-critical, aren't they? Another critical constant is the number 0.0072973525693 or about 1 divided by 137. What's so special about this tiny number? It turns out that this precise number pops up all over the place in physics, in a variety of equations that define physical existence. Physicists call it the fine structure constant, and they are completely astonished by it. PBS has videos just about this number. If the fine structure constant were just slightly larger, atoms would blow apart. That seems kind of important to me. How about you? Dozens of numbers like this are tuned to a very tiny range rather than a required point along a vast spectrum. It might help to think about another literal spectrum of electromagnetic wavelengths that has a narrow band we call visible light. Most of the spectrum given off by stars can't be seen except for this teensy section of visible light from red to violet. And wouldn't you know it, only these wavelengths of visible sunlight are used by plants to grow, which we humans have to live, so more fine-tuning. Another one is the cosmological constant, which is more like a value than a constant, but it's a critical number defining the rate of the expansion of the universe. It's been measured at 10 to the minus 122nd power, just above zero. If it were less than zero, the universe would collapse on itself, but if too big, the universe would go wild. There are so many Goldilocks numbers like this that are just right. Not only just right for life to be, but for every component of the universe to be. It's like someone dialed these values in, and all physicists can see that. Virtually none of them deny it. So we have a cause-effect problem. Option A, do the fine-tuned values derive from the universe? Or option B, does the universe derive from the fine-tuned values? It makes no sense for the universe to just happen upon these values. So if A is your choice, then there must be an infinite number of universes in order to get that lucky. Hence the dream of a multiverse, which, let's be honest, is an utterly unscientific imagining to cope with the shock of such incredible fine-tuning. There are no observations of universes outside our own. No observations, no science. But if we consider option B, that the universe derives from the fine-tuned values, then it squares perfectly with a transcendent creator who set those fine-tuned values, constants, and ratios at the beginning of creation to make our exact universe exist as it is. A universe that is intelligible, observable, and testable, the very meaning of science. This is the finely tuned universe we find ourselves in, making special creation our only scientific option. So what's the probability of all these perfectly adjusted values, constants, and ratios being just a coincidence? Non-existent? The master designer is a reality, and no amount of excuse-making will change that without pretending that we're just the lucky universe. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I rest my case.